Hello and welcome to the Rankers podcast where we literally rank anything and everything. Just two best friends ranking it up. My name is Nick.
And my name is Jacob. Let's rank 'em. Merry
Let's
Christmas.
rank them. Merry Christmas, Ranker fam. We are here. We are here. We are
Yes.
here.
The halls are decked. The
halls
geese
are decked.
are laying. The lords are leaping or whatever.
Heck yeah.
And Santa Claus is coming to town. He's coming.
Santa Claus is coming to town, dude.
So
Dude, that's so great. What are
spice
you
up the fruitcake.
Dude, we're so hype. We're hype about Christmas. What
Yeah.
are you most hype about for Christmas? Just the Christmas season, holiday season.
Yeah, so it's the feeling for me. So obviously I have to I was about to say I have to say this. I'm being paid
No,
to
you
say
have
this.
to
No,
now.
I genuinely, for any of you who don't know, I'm not ashamed to say this on the podcast, but obviously Christmas is about, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ
Amen,
coming to be
hallelujah.
born as a man to save us from our
Amen,
sins.
hallelujah.
Praise God.
Amen.
But the actual meaning of Christmas aside, let me get to the commercial stuff that really doesn't matter.
I'm gonna have to join you in saying that's the best part of Christmas.
It is.
It is.
I know. For me, it's the feeling. I love Christmas. Was a big deal for me as a kid, and the traditions and the feeling and
Yep.
the light, all of it. The lights, the the hot cocoa, the movies and stuff. Everything about Christmas. It's not even close. It's my favorite time of year. It's why I got married in December. It's why, all this kind of stuff. Oh, wait a minute.
Congrats on 1 year, by the way. You just had your 1 year a few days ago.
That's weird. I did just have my 1 year, but I think you are.
Oh, shoot.
What happened to you?
What happened? I don't know.
Dude, my Ranker fam, if, those of you who don't know, in between the Thanksgiving foods episode and the Christmas movies episode, your boy Nick got engaged.
Yo, let's go. Two claps for Nick. Two claps for Nick because she said yes. That's what we're excited about.
Yes. He did have to pay her beforehand, but she did. No.
A little bit. No, it was no. But yeah, she said yes. I'm super excited. We're already starting on the plans and figuring things out.
Yeah.
And so, as far as just all the wedding planning and everything, I'm realizing it's a lot more work than I thought. But excited. It's an exciting season. And so that'll make this holiday season even more special for me because it's my engagement season.
Yeah.
And so we got Christmas time, we got the Ranker fam, we got engaged season. It's just it's a good time to be alive, right?
Yeah. Yeah, dude, we are so excited for you. I am so excited as one of the Rankers, and then I know the Ranker fam is also stoked out of their minds for you. So drop a little congrats to Nick.
But thank you. But yeah, I also, I'm excited for the Christmas season. I don't know if I have like one thing I'm most excited about. The feeling is great, but also like I don't know, just kind of end of the year, ready to jump into a new year. And I have my birthdays or the 21st, so that's near Christmas. My fiance's birthday is right after Christmas on the 27th, so it's just like
doesn't it feel good to say that?
So much. Yeah, I know, right?
My fiance. I'll tell you one of the top three, I'm just a list guy, obviously, I like to rank stuff, but that's definitely one of my favorite things about Christmas, it's up there close to the top, is Christmas movies.
Oh, yeah. Christmas movies. Hey, I think we're talking about Christmas movies today.
I think we are. I think we didn't get to talk about this last year, which was a shame. My fault.
You got married or something, so
totally
we had
my
no
fault.
time for anything.
We have been saving this. We've been itching to do this list for so long on this podcast. We've had people asking about this list. Shout out to you guys.
Heard about that. Shout out Discord.
We're ready. Let's do this thing. You want to rank our top 10 favorite Christmas movies, Nick?
Let's do it. How did you, Jacob, rank these movies? What kind of criteria did you have?
So here's one thing. So if you've listened to our top 10 movies podcast, which was a big one. Shout out Jack McCree. We did that with him. Go listen to that if you haven't heard it yet. I did. I went with that was based off of like the rewatchability of it, like how much, like if I had to go on an island and only take, one movie with me, that's my number one. Like it's a movie I can watch over and over again. This list was a little bit different because obviously most of us watch these movies over and over again because we
Yeah.
get to the Christmas season and we watch them again. And so it was a little bit different. So I will say a couple things that are different from my main movies list is I split up the sequels. So I have
Okay. Yeah.
some of these movies have sequels and trilogies and so on and stuff. I didn't
Mhm.
include them all as one pick. I kind of spread them out a little bit because they're just, for some reason, I just couldn't do it that way. I had to kind of differentiate
So
on
does that
this
mean we
list.
can expect a couple of trilogy movies, if you will, having multiple in your list?
Yes, that's exactly what I
Okay.
mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
All
I
right.
kind of changed it up a little bit because if you go back and listen to our movies one, I put a lot of those together.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah, we
this,
have done that before in other
the,
podcasts.
yeah, the Christmas genre is a little bit smaller than all the movies to choose from in the world.
Makes
And
sense.
so I
Yeah.
thought it was good to stretch it out a little bit. This is, the main criteria is when I watch this movie, what movies make me feel the most like it's Christmas? And that's kind
Mhm.
of how I did it. And so as
All
I
about the
get
feeling.
closer, yeah, that's just how it is for me. As I get
Big
closer to
feelings
number
guy.
one, my number one is like the most Christmas mood I can get is when I'm watching this movie. And so,
Makes sense.
what about you?
Dude, so I will say one thing that I said way back in the Marvel podcast with superhero Josh. I said that I
Superhero
can't really
Josh.
watch
Yeah,
movies like more than once. I don't know if you remember me saying
I
that.
do. I do.
I was so blown away when I heard that you and Josh had watched all these movies so many times.
Yeah.
And even in the movie podcast with Jack, I was kind of the same way. And so that's gonna still be a repeated thing for me. However, Christmas movies, we tend to watch them once a year at least. And so I do have some on this list that, I've seen many times.
That's great.
Which is funny because now it's making me think. I think Christmas movies are one of the only movies in my life that I've seen like more than once at least. But I am sort of sticking with it in a sense that like, I like the movie for it being the movie. Yes, I've seen it a few times, maybe, but not a whole lot.
Okay.
So you got that, and then, man, I just kind of went with what I liked. I do tend to have some funny movies in here, so I think I enjoy kind of the modern day funny movie.
Okay.
There's some classics. So I think you'll see a good mixture of Christmas movies in general. And yeah, I mean that's just what I like the best, and
Love it.
that's all I got. Yeah.
Love it. You ready? Let's do it
Yeah,
then.
dude, let's do it. I
Um,
You want to start?
sure, I can start.
All
I can
right,
start. All right,
coming in at number 10.
let's do it. So number 10 for me is How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
How did he steal Christmas?
1966, the original animated movie is my
I was
number
gonna
10.
ask you about that if you were.
So, fun fact about me, growing up, Jim Carrey's live action version of The Grinch
Yeah.
scared the crap out of me.
uh.
It scared me really, really bad.
Yep.
And one of the ways that I had a lot of comfort is my mom had a VHS of the original 1966 How the Grinch Stole Christmas
Mm-hmm.
cartoon, and I just loved it. I was enthralled with it. I loved everything about it. I loved the classic look of it, the music and the animation style. I loved the way that the Grinch was drawn and like how all of it looked, Max, everything about it. It was the perfect length.
Mm.
It's only like 30 minutes or something like that. It's one of those Christmas specials. And
Yeah.
so this may be my most nostalgic pick on my list
Mm-hmm.
because I can remember going back and watching this one, a long, long time ago. And so
Yeah.
it's always on the list when it comes around to Christmas. It's one of those things that I'm going to show to my kids one day.
Not
And
Jim Carrey.
yeah, right. Well, they're gonna watch this cartoon one and they're gonna be like, what is this? Because it's
Yeah.
gonna be like 1,000 years old by then. So,
Fair.
but it's really important to me. It's my most nostalgic pick, like I said. And so, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the 1966 animated version, is my number 10.
Heck yeah, that's a good pick. We'll revisit that one. I was gonna ask about the year.
Okay.
What do you know what year the Jim Carrey one came out? I'm not really sure.
I think it's 2001.
2001.
I'll
Okay.
fact check that really quick as you get to your
Yeah,
number
yeah, no
10, but
worries.
I'm pretty sure it's 2001.
Yeah, I was just wondering.
Oh, it's 2000. I just did it.
2000.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
2000. So,
yeah. Okay, nice. Good pick.
yeah,
I'll go ahead and get into my number 10.
let's do it.
And I will say there is a little bit of nostalgic. You just kind of went through that a little bit with this one. So you'll probably see a little bit of that in my list as well. But I do kind of have a little bit of like these movies are like good to me, but they're not
Okay.
like great. So my list kind of goes from good to great.
Okay.
So number 10 for me is called Scrooge. It is the one with Bill Murray. He plays Scrooge.
Yeah.
For me, this movie, it's not one that I actually like tend to watch every year. I've seen it a few times, but I really like this movie because I like the Ebenezer Scrooge story, and
Yeah.
that's what this movie does. It does it. It just brings it up into modern day.
Right.
Bill Murray is a movie executive, executive, I guess. I don't know if he's exactly like a director or whatnot. But I mean, he's got the cold heart. He's rude. He's mean, and everybody knows the Scrooge story. And so like I guess I just liked it in the sense that like it just made this Scrooge story in our modern day and age.
Yeah.
You know what to expect, but honestly, like that's what I want in this kind of a movie because like I know the story, I know what's gonna happen, and you know
Right.
sometimes you just want that. You know you're getting a good feel good movie around Christmas time. We see that a lot in you know like the Hallmark movies when you just know what's coming.
Oh yeah. But you
And
watch it
so
every single time anyway.
but you watch it every time and you're still gonna be on the edge of your seat at one point and then you know come back and be happy and
Yeah.
like everybody knows Ebenezer Scrooge story and that's what this movie does for me is that I know it's happening but that's what I want in this movie.
Yeah.
Which by the way I was thinking about this movie and I was like they should like totally remake a Scrooge movie because like that one's good and all it's not great and I
Sure.
would love to see like this Scrooge story move up into the great category. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's coming in at 10 for me.
I haven't seen Scrooge. The A Christmas Carol storyline has been adapted, you know, multiple times. It's even been adapted in like a romantic comedy that wasn't even about Christmas. I think it was that Matthew McConaughey movie, the Ghost of Girlfriend's Past or
Oh,
something like
yeah, yeah,
that, where he
yeah.
goes back. Anyway, it's the Disney
I
version is
did see something
great,
about that.
um and so I that's a fantastic story. I haven't seen that movie in particular, but anytime Bill Murray heads up a movie, he's just brilliant. He's hilarious, and that
Yeah,
that adapt, you know, kind of that storyline can be adapted in so many ways. It's just a great story.
yeah,
So
yeah. I would like to see it done like well though, and stick to the classic story, which this movie does. But at this
yeah,
point, even it's outdated. I think you know it's early 2000s, if not.
sure.
I'm not really maybe 90s. But at this point, I mean that's even a little old for a movie.
Right, right.
But yeah, I'd like to see them redo it. But yeah, Scrooged at number 10.
Love it, love it. All right. My number 9 is a movie that I actually didn't watch until recently, like in the past few years, and
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of like, you know, people were very, very surprised that I took so long to watch this because this is not only, you know, counted as one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time, but this is in a lot of people's, you know, all-time list. It was actually in, I believe, Jack's top 10 movies of all time, and my number 9 is It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
And so I got a lot of flack because I hadn't seen this movie. And so a couple years ago, it was one of the first, like the first or second years that me and Maddie
Mm-hmm.
were dating, but we watched it with her family. And I was just, I was kind of, I'll be honest, I was kind of a Scrooge about it myself. I was like, golly, like I know this movie is like really,
Yeah.
really popular and it's, you know, it's one of the greatest, but I was like, this is so old. And when it started, you know, like we watched the black and white version and stuff,
Yep.
and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, this movie's gonna be like
I think
really
that's the
old.
only
But then
version.
I'll tell you what happened. Um, as I was watching it, the
Mm-hmm.
moment that that George and Mary first get together.
Hmm.
I'm a sucker for romantic movies and like Christmas suddenly like exited the movie for me. And I was just like, I literally, I remember saying out loud to Maddie on the couch as we were watching this, I was like, this is one of the greatest cinematic love stories that I have ever seen. Their
Really?
relationship in that movie
Yeah.
is incredible, and sort of, what they go through and stuff. Anyway, but we watched it, and then,
There's some funny
there's
moments too.
really funny moments. The central
Yeah.
theme of the movie is really, really good. And so if I had been watching this from childhood and it was like more of a tradition, it would probably be higher up on my list. But just because it's been in recent years and I
Hmm.
really haven't watched it, the amount of times that you really need to appreciate it, it's coming in at number 9 for me. But I do appreciate it for what it is. It is an incredible movie, and it is a Christmas movie. So It's a Wonderful Life is number
Yeah.
9.
No, that's a great pick. We'll see it a little bit later in my list as well.
Oh, I'm sure.
But that one actually was one of the few that was a classic, especially for my family. It was the movie that my dad would turn on every year without fail.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's definitely some nostalgic behind that one.
I'm
Um,
gonna my in-laws are gonna give me some flack for having that so low. I know
oh
it.
man.
What's your number 9?
My number 9 is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and it's funny because I was trying to ask you, what year it was, because I chose the earlier year, but because I also I wasn't the biggest Grinch fan growing up because I genuinely was just honestly
Oh,
scared. I
your
think that
number
that's
9 is
normal.
the animated one as well?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, cool, cool.
and I think that that's I don't know. I
It was
feel
so
like we're not.
terrifying. He's
Yeah,
so scary.
I feel like it's normal for kids to be scared of the Grinch, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't know if that's supposed to be the point of the Grinch. Like obviously he's against Christmas, he
We
hates it. He's supposed to this dude up
yeah.
in the mountain or whatever.
We all can't be
But
Cindy Lou, who just magically wasn't
yeah,
terrified of him at all, which has always bothered me. Just
that's
doesn't
true.
buy it.
That is
She
true.
goes up there by herself, just doesn't buy it. She's like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
she doesn't. She
going
doesn't
on?
buy the hype. Yeah, we can't all be her. That's
We can't
funny.
all be Cindy Lou." Anyway, go ahead.
um, But no, I put it on my list because I do like the older version better because it is, I don't know, less scary to me in a sense. But also I guess the Grinch story in the sense of it's this just magical little fairy tale world out
Yeah,
somewhere in the winter wonderland. I don't know,
on a
just it
snowflake. Yeah,
on a snowflake. Yeah, that's true. It is on a snowflake, isn't it? I don't know, it just kind of brings that Christmassy
yeah,
life up, I guess, if in a sense. But I will say that there's definitely some lessons to be learned there. But I definitely was not a fan of the Grinch growing up. But I felt like it kind of had to make my list.
yeah.
That's why it's also low. It's in that good category, but not
Yeah,
great.
yeah. I love it.
Um,
Great pick.
but what is your number 8?
So my number 8, I said earlier that I didn't do sequels and stuff together, and this doesn't really break that rule, but I am doing multiple movies in one pick with this pick with my number 8. But
Yeah, go for it.
my number 8 is the Rankin and Bass claymation Christmas movies. So
So
Rankin and Bass they were the company that did it's
like
like
Rudolph and
Rudolph and
yeah, okay.
Santa Claus is coming to town, A Year Without a
Yeah.
Santa Claus, all of those movies. I'm kind of putting them all in one. And these movies are big for me. These are the movies that when I have kids one day and show them these, they're gonna be
Mhm.
like, what am I watching?
That's the fairy
Um,
tale world of Christmas.
yeah, it's it's literally it's claymation, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so classic that it's almost polarizing. But these movies were really, really important to me growing up, and particularly if I had to rank them myself, I won't rank
Mhm.
all of them, but my personal favorite is A Year Without a Santa Claus, because I love the Miser brothers. Do you know who I'm talking about? The Heat Miser and Snow Miser.
Are they, yeah, kind of like the burly lumberjack looking guys, or
No, no,
no?
those are in Rudolph, but the
Okay.
the Miser brothers, one of them is the Heat Miser, and the other is the Snow Miser. They have the song. Anyway, go back the next time you watch it, look
Okay,
out for
yeah, I'll have
those. But
to. I
I
haven't seen those
love
in a minute.
Yeah, I mean they're literally it's those are old, and so but they're really important to me. I put them on during Christmas every single year. I'll just kind of watch them. They're little short, 30-minute movies, and they all have just the classic Christmas feel. And I think that they
Mm.
definitely deserve to be mentioned on everybody's favorite Christmas movies. But for me in particular, they're gonna make the top 10. So that's number 8 for me. Or I
It
think
makes
that's my
it.
number
Yeah, that
7
was gonna.
actually. Sorry.
No, that was 8.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, that
I'm
was
sorry.
8.
Yeah, number 8.
Um, no, yeah, I mean all of those movies. When I was looking at some Christmas movies, I was seeing those repetitively, and like one of the reasons they actually don't make my list, but mainly because I didn't want to put them on my list just because I felt like I had to. Because honestly, I like I know Rudolph's story and whatnot, but like there's some of the other ones like you mentioned, which was what was it, the Christmas Without Santa Claus,
Yeah, so A Year Without Santa Claus. Frosty
Year
is
Without
also
Santa Claus.
included. That's a
Yeah.
Rankin and Bass film as well.
So
It's
like
just not claymation, it's
I
animated.
know like Frosty and
Right.
Rudolph's like stories, but I didn't add it on my list just because I one didn't totally remember them and I didn't really know what to say about them.
Yeah, they have
But
Rankin and
it
Bass has a few other movies that are like awful, like the just
really.
terrible misses. Yeah, I think they tried to do more stuff later on, but those OG few that they did
Mm,
are incredible. Because Santa Claus is Coming to Town is cool because it shows how like how when Santa Claus was like a young guy, like it shows his
mm.
story and how he becomes Santa Claus, and
Yeah, see, I
that's
don't
just
even remember that.
it's really it's really cool. Those are, but that's just me. So.
No word. And I mean it makes sense because those are totally the Christmas feel movies, and that's the way that you said you're doing your list.
Yeah, for sure. So,
But I am kind of excited for my number 8 because I wonder if you've seen it or heard about it.
okay.
But it is called Jingle All the Way. Heard of that movie? No?
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yes. And
This
it's
movie.
it's Cole and Dylan Sprouse, right? Isn't it the
Oh, I don't. I think
isn't it the
you
Sweet
might be
Life
right.
of Zach and Cody Boys? You keep going. I'll fact check us.
Okay, yeah, do it. Um, but yeah, I mean, he is. Those are the kids. Potentially, he's got because he's trying to be the best dad that he can be.
Yeah,
And honestly, he's chasing down this action figure called Turbo Man the whole time, and
yeah,
it's such like a corny like most people are probably like, why do you have this on your list? Because it's just so corny and
yeah,
and like not great in essence. But like it made my list because again, I said I like funny movies, and this movie is hilarious to me. And it a little bit of nostalgic pick too. I think all of them probably will be with me.
yeah,
But yeah, my dad and my siblings, we used to watch this movie all the time, and there's actually a famous line in it to us. Because he's rivaling with Sinbad, and
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he Sinbad is like running through the street, and he bumps like there's like a parade going on, and he like bumps this guy like out of the way who's like dressed as a box,
Uh-huh.
and he's literally like, "Get out of my way, box!" As a
That's
guy
like an
dressed as a
inside.
box.
It's like an inside joke of y'all's
It's
fam.
like yeah, it's like it should be a famous line that everybody knows, but it's just not. But it is in my family.
That's great.
So like even to this day, we'd be like, "Get out of my way, box," and we're referencing Jingle All the Way from Sinbad pushing somebody over in the street, trying to chase down this action figure.
That's
But anyways,
fantastic.
yeah, it's such a like goofy movie, but it's funny and it's got the you're also obviously rooting for him because you want
Right.
him to be a good dad and you want the other guy to be a good dad. So it's just like everybody gets to be a good dad in the Christmas season.
Oh
But
yeah.
there's only one Turbo Man to get.
So just to fact check us really quick, I feel like an idiot. It is not
I didn't know.
Dylan and Cole
Okay.
Sprouse who play the son, and this is for the Star Wars fans. It is actually Jake Lloyd, and if you don't know who Jake Lloyd is, he was young Anakin Skywalker in the Phantom Menace. He's a
Oh,
terrible actor, awful.
I could
But
see the
that's who
confusion.
that's who plays the son in that movie. There's also a sequel with Larry the Cable Guy, which
Of Jingle All the Way.
has horrible reviews as I'm
Oof,
reading right
I
now.
didn't
So
even know that. So
that's
that's
probably
good.
why. That's probably why. But that's a great pick, dude. Schwarzenegger taking a break from being the Terminator to come and be a
Yeah,
dad.
right.
That's fantastic. That's like, that's
Another
just
like
great.
90s, early 2000s Christmas movie. Can't beat
Yes.
him.
Love it. Love it.
The era is gone. It's sad.
It is. Number 7.
number 7.
Shall we? All right, my number 7 is the Santa Claus. And so
Word.
this is the first one. So these are the Tim Allen movies, and this one is classic. It's a really, really fun story. I always found it funny that Tim Allen,
Other early 2000s.
yeah, Tim Allen was in the Santa Claus movies, but he was also in Christmas with the Cranks, where he
Yep.
plays the
Mhm.
the opposite of Santa Claus, literally somebody who doesn't want Christmas. So I always thought that was really funny. But to me, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. We're not ranking them, but Tim Allen is Santa
Is the
Claus to
goat.
me. He is my favorite Santa Claus out of all the actors that we've seen portray the great Kris Kringle.
Mm.
Scott Calvin is Santa Claus to me. And I
Yes,
just
go
love
Scott.
I think I love the storyline so much because it's really like it's obviously about him becoming Santa Claus, but
Mhm.
the actual the themes in that movie, it's really about a son showing his father how to believe in something again. And
Mm.
that's why I love the story so much, because I related so much to his son in that movie, where everybody is telling him that, Santa's not real and that he's being ridiculous and all this kind of stuff, but like, he knows in his heart, because he ends up going to the North Pole, and then his dad literally becomes his
Mhm.
superhero. He becomes
Yeah.
Santa Claus. And that was big for me because I grew up with divorced parents, and that's a big part of that movie, is him going
Mhm.
back and forth and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I love, them having Christmas dinner, him trying to cook it. It's just the two of them, but he has to go to the restaurant. And then Bernard the elf. There's the hot chocolate, so
The
many
restaurant, is
great.
that
Yeah, they
is that
go
when he,
to
like,
like,
tries to go on a date or something, or is that different
I
scene?
think that's the second one. That's the
Okay, yeah,
second
that's the second
movie.
one.
But he tries to
Oh, I
cook
remember.
Christmas dinner at his house, but he
Yeah.
burns it, so they have to go to
Uh-huh.
this like diner or whatever, the
Yep.
only thing open.
Yeah.
And but that movie's just, it's incredible. It's a classic movie. Like I said, Tim Allen is the goat
Mm.
when it comes to Santa Claus. So the Santa Claus, the first one, that's coming in at number 7 for me.
Dang, I feel like with how much you just talked about, it should be a little bit higher.
I
I
yeah,
don't
I was kind of really talking it up
was
just
it
then.
one
It
of
was
those picks when you're like, man, this should have been higher for me as you're talking about? I'm
yeah,
not sure.
I may have convinced myself, but I can't change it. So why don't you go ahead and give
No,
us your number
I
7?
I love the Santa Claus. That one will also come up later for me.
Okay.
But I will say that um, sorry, I totally just got lost.
You're good.
I'm gonna have to cut this out.
No, you're fine.
um,
He's blanked.
yeah, I'm
He's
blanked.
totally
I'm
he's
totally
totally
blanked.
he's just
I'm
he's literally
blanked.
just staring into an abyss of a
I was
screen.
trying to find my next number because I didn't do it in order.
Houston. Oh man.
Yeah, I know, I'm stupid. And so I was going around looking for 7. I was like, where the heck is 7? All right, let's jump back into this thing.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Yeah, so going into my number 7, that one is going to be It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay, nice.
This one, like I said, you've already mentioned a lot about it, how it's such a classic, and that maybe not for you, but it was for me. Um, and I think like it's also got the perfect story as far as going from the bottom to the top.
Yeah.
Because I mean he's literally, about to attempt suicide, and an angel comes in, and then this is when we go into the movie and we see just his climb back to the top, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
And we see him fall in love with Mary, of course, and it's everything that you'd want in like a feel good story, but also like from the bottom to the top. And it's funny that you mentioned black and white, because I put that in my notes, that this movie is one of the only classic movies that I'll watch in black and white. Because
Yeah.
normally when I see that, I'm like, I don't want to watch it. I'm so lame for not wanting to watch black and white, right? But this is like the one movie that I'll actually watch in black and white. But yeah, my dad has an obsession with this movie. I have no idea why. He watches it like 400 times throughout each Christmas season. He probably could literally quote the whole movie. But
There's
anyways,
the line where George asks Mary if she wants the moon, and is one at like it's such a quick little, it almost makes me emotional. It's like one of the most, like, the simplest kind of outlandish, like well-written lines in cinematic history, and just the way that he delivers it and everything. It's so classic, so quotable. I love everybody loves the angel part of that story. I love the love story part of that story. I'm enthralled with that movie.
Hey
That's a great
man,
pick.
I'm not picking on you. You know how I feel about
You're a Jim and Pam guy.
I'm a Jim and Pam guy. Come on now.
You are.
But
That's
It's a
great.
Wonderful Life is coming in at number 7.
I love it.
So we're on to your number 6.
Yeah, number 6. So this one's big for me. I moved it around a few different times on the list. It was a little bit higher just because I love this movie. But Home Alone, the first one, is coming in at number 6 for me. So Home Alone is one of those movies. I think I said earlier, I'm just gonna go ahead. All these movies are nostalgic for me. I think
Yeah,
I've said on
I
every
had to
single
say that
pick.
already.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all of these movies I've been watching, except for It's a Wonderful Life. Like I said, I found it kind of recently, but the
makes
rest of
sense.
these I've been watching for a long time. And Home Alone was just huge growing up. My
Mhm.
dad, to this day, thinks it's like he remembers seeing it in theaters, and you wait the whole entire movie for the moment when the robbers come into the house and he like plans everything. Like that's what you're waiting for the whole entire time. And he tells me that like in the theater, like everybody was like on the ground cackling the first time they watched that. Like that was one of the
Really.
funniest things that had come out, was just watching these two guys come in and just get destroyed by this little kid.
Hmm.
And Macaulay Culkin is just brilliant as the character. I can't do any of the like Home Alone 3 and Home Alone 4 and these sequels that they keep trying to
Yeah,
make.
they.
I didn't even watch the newest one that came out. I can't. It's just Home Alone, the original, and the whole entire story,
Yeah.
and him being, left out by his family and all the dynamics. Him and his older brother Buzz. My older brother was not nearly as awful as Buzz was, but we did have a
Dang,
couple
you resonate
moments.
with him and
We
with
did have a
Buzz.
couple moments where I resonated with Kevin a little bit, but Matthew, you are not as bad as Buzz. That's not what I'm saying. He's gonna be mad at me that I
No,
said
you're
that.
totally saying that, but he's not gonna
Uh,
believe you now.
but Home Alone, the original one, is just such a classic Christmas movie. It's this one I'm watching a few times during the season. I love
Yeah,
this
heck
one.
yeah.
And as I get closer now in my top 5, like these top 5, I wait, like in particular, I wait as I get closer to Christmas, because I feel like the closer to Christmas, the more of that feeling I get. So
Hmm.
it's coming in pretty high for me. Home Alone is my number 6.
Yeah, heck yeah. I'll revisit that one as well. I'm just saying that after every single one of your
Yeah,
picks.
I hear you.
It's
I
like
hear you.
I don't wanna like say stuff either and give it away. But I was gonna ask you with Santa Claus and Home Alone now, you mentioned having trilogies and whatnot. Um, I will say though that the Home Alone 2 is like acceptable.
Okay.
But like, yeah, anything after 2 is not great. And
Yeah.
then with Santa Claus, I actually would say that they don't do too bad at continuing the movies. Maybe that's a hot take for me to say that, I don't mind the other Santa Claus movies.
Mm,
I think some of them, I think, is it 3 maybe? 3 might be really the one that I also really like as well.
okay.
But anyways, we'll move on.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll yeah, just go ahead.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, we're on to my number 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number 6 for me is one that is a little bit nostalgic, mainly because for some reason, so long story short, my grandma, I guess we can say she loves Christmas, but she always had a theme that she would get Christmas ornaments for all of me and my siblings.
Okay.
And so like there was always a theme, like my brother would have like sports ornaments, or my sister would have like, some sort of like Barbie ornaments or something. And like for me it was animals until I got a little bit older, and then the Polar Express came out, which is my pick, the Polar Express number 6. And she started getting me Polar Express like ornaments, and like she bought me like this huge awesome like Polar Express kit that like had ornaments with it. It had the movie with it. It also
Wow.
had like action figures of the actual kid, and like it even had like the train. and then it even had like a soundtrack. So like I had all of this and I just embraced it. I listened to the soundtrack, I like played with the toys, and like I just like, for me, like the Polar Express was like big for me around Christmas time. So shout out grandma, thanks for that gift. You made me fall in love with Polar Express. Um I don't know if it's maybe a hot take that, because I will say though, I like the aspect of it that it creates like this kind of secret mystery to Christmas, and it also makes it seem like more powerful, because like in a lot of other Christmas stuff, it's all like, I don't know, the even like the color schemes of the Polar Express feels different to make it seem like
Yeah,
more powerful, I
I know what you
guess.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And like it just makes it seem like it's more of like an intense thing instead of like this kind of happy, bright Christmas vibes. Which I don't know, I kind of like that about the Polar Express. It puts kind of a different feel on how powerful and secret Santa can be. And also like um just the whole idea of him, leaving from his bedroom and whatnot.
Yeah.
It gives like that kind of sense, like, oh, like that's something that like I could dream about here in my bed, that like, this could happen to me, or like I could daydream about something like this happening. And the Polar Express like made that come to life.
Mm.
But yeah, so number 6, Polar Express.
So, I love you,
Yeah.
but I hate the Polar Express. It is
Uh,
it is up there for me on one of my least favorite Christmas
why? It's
movies.
such a good movie.
I don't know. From the very first moment I watched it,
It's because exactly what I just said
I
is
think
that
you may be right.
it's not the Christmas feel movie, in that it makes it like secretive and powerful, and it's not like your feel good Rudolph
Yeah,
Christmas movie.
I
So
think my
it makes
Christmas
sense. It makes
I think
sense.
my Christmas like is just more shallow. Like it doesn't take a lot for me. You're talking about all this powerful, which I do agree. I mean, it does kind of do that, but the whole vibe of the movie, I have just always
It's
been
not the Christmas fun vibe. It's just
no,
not.
it's not. But
And
so
it's
I get
not
it.
widely popular though, but
I mean, I know like it has a following for sure. Like I know some people who like that's their favorite Christmas movie. Like that's the
really,
one they go to, and I'm like,
I
oh,
wouldn't say it's my favorite.
well,
And it even took that
oh.
much for me to put it, this high on my list, but
Yeah, that's gonna be a no go for me.
I
But I
got no
respect the
shame in the
pick for you.
Polar.
No shame in the Polar.
That's cool that we have a little bit of discrepancy in our lists.
We gotta have it.
Yeah,
Gotta
we
have
gotta
it.
have it.
All right, let's do this top five. Let's go. Here we go. My
Besides, our
number.
top 5 are gonna be the same, I'm sure.
So my number 5 is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the live action Jim Carrey version.
You're
So
trash.
I was I kind of stopped my story short earlier. I was very scared of this movie growing up. It really, really scared me until my older brother and my older sister, without my parents knowing, uh, just
Oh
about
no.
held me down and forced me to watch it one year. And I remember
Wow.
they didn't actually hold me down, but they were like, they didn't bully me into it, but they were kind of like, look, dude, like it's time. Like we're gonna watch this. You're gonna like it. It was kind of like how you're really scared of a roller coaster and then you ride it and
And
then
then
you
you get
realize
it.
how awesome it is. Once I watched that movie all the way through, I loved it. I was like, this is great, because I think the only things that I remembered about the Grinch that scared me were,
Hmm.
the moments when he does the creepy smile and the moments when he's like,
Bright
yelling and all
yellow
this kind
eyes.
of stuff and the bright yellow eyes. But then I watched all the other moments where you start to see his compassionate side and you see the really
Hmm.
dry humor that Jim Carrey brings. And by the way, just a side note, the fact that film critics and the Academy would just vomit on this, but the fact that Jim Carrey doesn't have an Oscar for playing that role is just insane to me. I think it's brilliant. It is such an iconic role,
Hey, don't tell
and
that to my boy Leonardo.
yeah, my bad. Sorry, Leo, if you're listening. But
He
uh,
is.
this is just this is a great movie. Anthony Hopkins narrating and just the whole vibe of it. Not my favorite Whoville per se, but it is a really fun adaptation, and just the whole Christmas vibe is really, really good. Jim Carrey, like I said, is great. So How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the live action one, it is top 5 for me, coming in at number 5.
I think I just watched the animated one more too, so maybe that was
I probably
why I
have
felt
as
that one
well.
more. But
Um,
yeah, the Grinch just always kind of scared me growing up. I wasn't the biggest fan.
it kind of feels like it still scares you a little bit.
Yeah, I guess so. I might be scared. I mean, I ain't watching it this year. We'll just say that.
All right, well, let's hear your number
I'm
5.
kidding. All right, my number 5. Speaking of not so great Christmas vibes, A Christmas Story. The reason I say that is because A Christmas Story is like bye, see you, we'll see you. Christmas Story makes the middle class American just life and puts it into a Christmas movie during the Christmas holiday season, and then they call it A Christmas Story.
Mm.
And that's what this movie is. I for some reason I put in my notes Bob Clark directing his second Christmas movie after Black Christmas, like I'm like a movie critic and I know what I'd be talking about if I put that.
That's such an important thing to you. Is
But so hey, movie critics out there you go. There's
There you
my
go.
Bob Clark shout out. But yeah, it's you got Ralphie as a kid. All these Christmas movies also follow kids and wonder why. Um, but literally, I there's just so many like different classic scenes for me in this movie as to why it made my list and especially this high because it does in a sense bring like the Christmas season and alive in looking at it in like a real sense.
Sure.
It like as to my first point.
Right.
But one of the few scenes that I'm like never gonna forget is the classic tongue on the pole scene.
Yeah.
Like that's just like that's so iconic. Everybody knows that, and
Yeah.
it's just a hilarious scene. And even like the dad with the leg lamp, like that's also a super like it's just and then even him wearing the bunny suit, like it just brings what everybody like is living and puts it on the movie screen. I feel like there's some obviously some Christmas twists, but like I don't know. I've always watched this movie and I've always liked it. And
Yeah.
that's coming in at number 5, A Christmas Story.
Everything about that movie that people love
You
is
don't like.
is everything that I hate about that movie. That is
But
another one.
again, it's another one that's like it's not like your happy
Yeah.
fun Christmas feel.
You're kind of exposing me here, and I appreciate it. No, I really, because it is showing me like my favorite Christmas movies are the ones that just give you that Christmas feeling, and a Christmas Story, like it is like so weird to me that the dad like just like salivates over this lamp this whole
It's so
movie.
weird.
It's so weird. I appreciate like, the classic, aspect of that movie and how iconic it is and everything. It's not for me. It's not one that's going to be playing in the Bell household, and my wife doesn't like it either. And
I think it just resonates with so
some
many
people, no, that's again,
people
it's like
because
the Polar
it makes it
Express.
so real.
Like you're not a minority in this. Like I know plenty of people who just they love this movie. Like this is a big Christmas movie. There's a couple channels that, play it over and over again on Christmas Day or whatever, and people
Mm.
love this movie, and I just don't know why. But I respect it. I'm going to try to be respectful and everything
Well,
about it. So,
I'm trying to tell you why.
okay, yeah, yeah.
Is that
That's why we're here.
it
Yeah.
resonates with all of America because they all did the same things. They all
That
got
is
the same things.
the
It
BB
probably
gun, yeah.
resonates more with our parents, probably,
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
because it is more of that era, I guess. But yeah, I would say it's probably a resonating factor for that movie.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, there's just iconic scenes like the pole and you'll
Yeah.
shoot your eye out, like all that kind of stuff. Like you said, the BB gun. Like, there's just a lot of. Well, I don't know. I don't know if that probably didn't help out, but
No, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. I hate it.
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm sorry.
You don't like bullies. That's what it is. Because there's bullies in this movie. That's the one part I didn't like about that movie is him getting
Yeah,
bullied
that's
on. But
tough.
then he ended up socking him in the face. So I mean, come on, redemption.
Yeah, he did more than that. He beat the crap out of that kid. All right. I'm gonna go on to my number 4, and this may be a little bit of a hot take. So here's my first Jake take that I'm
Probably
gonna
feel good.
say. A lot of people love the first movie in this trilogy, which I have already mentioned, but my number 4 is the Santa Claus 2.
Oh, three.
And so I like 3, but 3 is not gonna make my top 10. It's not as good. The Jack Frost thing in 3
Oh, that
is,
one's 3. Yeah.
yeah.
No. Okay.
So number 2 is the one where he has to find Mrs. Claus. And so
That's the one I was thinking about when he like goes on the date.
yeah, he has to go back to like his hometown, and basically he's like on a clock. He like, if he doesn't find Mrs. Claus, he won't be Santa Claus anymore.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
so
Okay.
I really love this one. And I love him going back, and he's starting to shrink back down into his normal self, and he's losing his beard and everything. But this is a really, really fun story. I love watching him go
His
on the
belly gets
dates and
smaller, right?
stuff. Yeah, his belly gets smaller. And but there's a really, really classic, heartwarming scene where he's dating the principal, and he goes to the office Christmas party, and it's just like completely dead. And then he uses his magic as Santa Claus to give
Oh
everybody the
shoot, that's
gifts.
in the second movie.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Um, he uses it. What?
No, just keep going.
Okay, okay. You may have to change something on your list.
I think 1 and 2 ran together for me a little bit.
You got it mixed up.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah,
keep
but
going.
anyway, and then
That is
it ends really great for me when he comes back, and obviously they get married and everything, and it's my favorite one personal. I love because that's the one with the giant toy Santa that they replace him with while he's gone, that ends up like going
yes.
rogue and taking over,
Yeah.
and it's
Okay.
also Tim Allen playing him.
Yeah.
It's just really fun. And so yeah, this is number 4 for me, the Santa Claus 2. Love it.
That's a great pick. All right, coming in at number 4 for me is Home Alone, the first one.
Nice. Nice.
Kevin. Yeah, obviously everybody knows this storyline. I think you did a great job with giving us a little bit of the sneak peek into what it was like to be in the theaters. But I mean, yeah, Kevin's left home alone and his family leaves and forgets about him, goes on vacation.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of maybe a little similar to what I've been saying, is that it makes it seem like this could actually happen.
Yeah.
I don't
Little
know.
frightening,
A little
but
frightening.
you
No,
know,
I'm totally kidding. If any of my family members are listening, I don't think you would have left me for vacation.
you would have been
But
the one left
maybe.
home though.
Yeah, probably. Um, but yeah, this is a movie that I have seen probably 100 times. And I still want to watch it.
Yeah.
Every year, Home Alone. Yeah, they definitely should have stopped. The first one's the best one to me.
Mm.
But yeah, I guess I maybe learned a few things from him. If if I ever was in a situation, what I would do to stop robbers coming in the house.
There you go. Yeah.
But
Shooting somebody in the face with a BB gun, I feel like is always a good
yeah,
move.
absolutely, absolutely. But no, I love this movie, and there's just again, I feel like Christmas movies are just made to have iconic scenes.
Yeah.
But obviously Home Alone has plenty of those. Just the scene with him, smacking his face and yelling
Yeah.
with the shaving cream or whatever. But like that, there's like stuff like that. Like I could watch over and over again and totally be satisfied in the Christmas season.
Yeah.
So I guess it turns out I might have some Christmas good feels,
You
right?
you
I got
do.
some.
You do. Your heart will grow in time,
My
Mr.
heart will
Grinch.
grow. Hey, but I don't like the Grinch that much.
Yeah, you don't know. He's still scared of the
Uh,
Grinch, everybody, just for the
yeah, I
record.
am.
That's a
But
great
that
pick.
is Home Alone's number 4 for me.
All right.
Yeah.
Uh
Your number 3.
Number 3. All right, so this is my most personal pick. I don't
Ooh.
think that this will be on your top 10. I doubt. I don't know if you've ever seen it. But I guess you can tell me. But coming in at number 3 for me is The Holiday. And so The Holiday is
Not ringing a
technically a
bell.
Christmas. It is technically a Christmas movie, but I will be honest and say it's a little Jake Take-ish because it's not like very Christmassy. The only
Mm-hmm.
Christmas thing about it is it happens during the Christmas season, But if you haven't seen this movie, it's incredible. It's about these
like
two. It's about these two women, and they basically swap homes for like 2 weeks for a
uh
holiday, and then they like fall in love while they're like not fall in love with each other, but they fall in love with these two guys. It's Cameron Diaz, Jude Law, Jack Black, and Kate Winslet. It's like a great
I think I
cast,
have
and
seen this movie.
it is a fantastic movie. It is one of my favorites. I've already watched it this year. I'm probably
Nice.
going to watch it again. It's really great because the stories don't combine. They combine at the beginning and then they combine at the end, but all
Mm-hmm.
of the in between, the majority of the movie, it's like you're watching two different movies. You're
Mm-hmm.
bouncing back and forth between these stories, and it's really really great because you have this American woman who goes to England and then this English woman who goes to America, and they're living a different, a life in this 2 week span and everything. But definitely the least like Christmassy movie that I have on my list, and I kind of surprised myself when I put it up this high, but it just kept itching its way up closer and
Yeah.
closer to the top. It's one of my favorites. You could honestly watch it not at Christmas time, but for me it's a Christmas movie, so I wait
It
until
it
Christmas
takes
time to watch
place
it.
like through Christmas Day, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Well,
yeah, exactly.
I ain't gonna hate on you for that. That's
Yeah.
okay,
No,
man.
it is
I will
definitely it
say
is a
that.
Christmas movie, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah. I will say that I was actually. I mean, it's called The Holiday, right?
right.
Um, I was actually looking at some lists for Christmas movies in research for this podcast, and literally I was seeing like tons of movies that I was like, that's not a Christmas movie. What?
Oh, I know which
Like,
ones you're talking about, like Die Hard and
yeah, like Die Hard and like I think Batman Begins was somewhere around there.
no, Batman Returns
Batman
is the one
Returns.
that they count as a Christmas movie. Iron Man 3, they count as a
Yeah,
Christmas. It's
yeah.
like
I was so
any
confused.
yeah, it's any movie that if it takes place, like if there's a scene in the movie that takes place during Christmas,
Then they
they
just count it as a Christmas
like
movie.
they count all of the Harry Potter movies as Christmas movies because there is a Christmas moment in
Yeah,
each movie because they
yeah,
go,
there is.
but those aren't Christmas movies.
No, they're not.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, I
this,
think I saw Gremlins on there too, and I was
yeah,
like, wait, Gremlins is a great movie, but I'm not putting it on my list. What the
no,
heck?
no, not a Christmas movie for sure.
No, not a
Die
Christmas
Hard
movie.
especially. That's the one that
Yeah,
gets me. It's
and it was like I think I saw one list they had Die Hard at like number 3, and I was like, okay, never
yeah,
mind.
definitely no
Um,
bueno.
yeah, but that's why we make our own lists
That's
because they're
right. So give
better.
us your number three.
Give us your number 3. All right, where's my number 3? There it is. The Santa Claus. So this is why I started to give myself a facepalm because I put that one of my favorite scenes in the Santa Claus is when he goes and uses a little bit of magic that he had left because I remember like, going down on the meter,
Yeah, that's the
whatever.
Santa Claus too.
Okay, that's Santa Claus too. Dang, okay.
I'll
But
give you
anyways,
can change it now because if you thought it was the other movie, that's totally fine. Like
well,
you were
I will say I don't have any
or just put the
like different,
trilogy.
yeah, I don't have any
Okay.
different ones, so I could say Santa Claus 1 and 2 here.
Okay.
Yeah, the third one with Jack Frost was baloney. um
Yeah,
but
not
yeah, that
not my
that
favorite.
scene is so underrated, man. I remember
Super
like
good.
I love that scene, just like it was a school reunion, and like he uses magic and gave them the gifts that they remember from their childhood, and
Yeah.
they're like over there like playing the socket stuff, and like it just like
Yeah.
brought like to life that whole scene. But
And him like
man,
saying the names of the people and stuff. Yeah,
yes,
it's
yeah,
really,
yeah.
really great
That
scene.
scene's like probably one of the best freaking Christmas like scenes ever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, I mean Tim Allen, he's Santa Claus. Yeah, I would have to agree with you there.
He's
Nobody
the
else
goat.
is, especially just for you and you and I growing
Yeah.
up watching these movies. But yeah, I mean Tim Allen's at his best. I am a Tim Allen fan in general, and that this probably has a lot to do with it. But yeah, the Santa Claus series is so good. It's just it's an adventure. You're obviously like rooting for him, and you already kind of talked about the father son relationship there, and like just him like figuring things out and becoming the good Santa that he becomes. It's just like it's just got everything in it. And yeah, Santa Claus is great, and it should be on anybody's list when we're talking about top Christmas movies. But that's number 3 for me. So
Nice.
we'll put Santa Claus 1 and 2.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
My number two, I I'm thinking about because this is gonna spoil your list because I know what your number one is. Well,
So,
I just spoiled it
uh,
then. Sorry.
fun fact: I actually invited Josiah onto this podcast last minute, and he was like, "No, but I already know what your number one is."
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, well, that's because you listen to the Ranker Fam
Yeah.
podcast. Very
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah. Shout out to Josiah. I love that guy.
Josiah Ranker Fam.
My number two is Elf. So
Great pick. Great pick.
I love this movie. I think it's really rare that you have a Christmas movie come out in the mid 2000s that instantly, like, I mean, if you think about in the grand scheme of things, like what this movie was able to do,
Mm-hmm.
it it made itself a classic within like a year.
Instant.
It just
Instant
instantly
classic.
made itself a classic, and I don't really even know how it did it.
Like, what were
But
these poor people watching before this
yeah,
movie came out in
I
Christmas
mean,
season?
because there was nothing like in
I was
between
too
the
young to remember.
90s and then yeah, and like I think it's '06 when this movie came out, maybe.
Dang, that
But
really is not that long ago at all. What the heck?
no, but it's such an incredible
No,
classic
absolutely.
movie. It's like a quick hour and 20 something minutes. It's like a shorter one. But
Mm-hmm.
the story is amazing, really, really quotable. So many
Very
classic
quotable.
lines. That's shocking.
Shocking.
So many great
He's
lines and
singing
the
the
yeah,
store.
the Call Me Elf one more time, the Peter Dinklage scene, and like so many great
It's so good. It's so good.
classic lines and
Yeah.
stories. If anybody didn't know this, the head elf in that movie is Ralphie. As an adult, the guy who plays Ralphie in A Christmas Story is the head elf in that movie. The
Wow.
Ming or whatever he calls him.
That just shows you how good of a movie Christmas Story is. That he
Yeah, he's
merited the
made a lot
elf.
of cameos. He's made a few other Christmas movie cameos, but anyway, Elf is Will Ferrell, taking a break from the raunchy comedy, world that he lives in and coming in to do this movie. Do me a favor and look up on the internet after this, Ranker Fam, when you have some time,
Do
how
it.
much
Do it.
money he was offered to do the sequel is an obscene amount of money. And I kind of respect the crap out of him for saying no because it probably wouldn't be good. It's probably one of
Man.
those things where you just got to leave it where it is, but he was offered like a lot of money to do the sequel.
Really. I didn't know
And
that.
Zoe Deschanel coming in and just kind of playing this underrated, really awesome love interest part that she plays. And yeah, the elf is great. It's my number two, and I know it's gonna be your number one. So
But chill.
I'll let
I
you
need to go
say.
through my number
I'm
two
sorry,
first.
dude. Tell me what your number two is, and then we'll get
uh,
to it. I'm
my
sorry.
number two, speaking of Tim Allen, is Christmas with the Cranks. I
Wow.
Yeah, dude. I love this movie. This movie's great.
Wow, that is high, but I
It is
respect it.
high and it belongs there.
Wow.
Um, we have already talked about how great Tim Allen is, right? And I mean, the Santa Claus paved the way, but Christmas with the Cranks is one of the funniest movies to me I mean, well, one of the right. One of the funniest movies in the holiday season for me. And I guess it's just like another modern day movie that kind of sheds light on like you have what like it makes it real, but then
Yeah.
obviously there's like the magic spin to it. But I mean it's just like it brings out that like happiness and joy of the Christmas season. Obviously the Cranks are trying to leave, they're trying to go on vacation. So life lesson for Ranker fam out there, don't try to go on vacation for Christmas. Just go watch this movie and you'll find out why.
There you go.
um but I think like it does kind of in a sense show how great the holiday season is and that it's meant for family. It's meant for the meaningful moments in time, even with neighbors. And like it's just we even talked about this recently, the whole honey baked ham, because we
You
we talked
did.
about this in our Thanksgiving podcast, and you said that you
Yes.
just watched it.
Yeah.
um that's a hilarious scene, just trying just oh, what's I can't even remember the wife's name now.
Jamie Lee Curtis is the actress.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I
We
can't
need
remember the name
actresses
and
and
the
actors'
character,
names.
but Jamie Lee
um,
Curtis, yeah.
but yeah, just her trying to go for the honey baked ham, and I mean, because that was obviously when they were trying to stay at that
Right.
point and realized they needed to stay because their daughter is coming home. But yeah, it just makes it it makes it kind of just remembering like why this season is so good.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a funny movie. It checks all the boxes for me, what I look for in a Christmas movie. But yeah, that's number 2.
There is a really great scene when the neighborhood comes together to help them do the party at the end. That is a really
Yeah.
cool Christmas moment
And
of
he's
just
got like the rival like with his
yeah,
neighbor and like his neighbor's cat. So
yeah,
like, and then even them coming together at the end of the
right.
movie.
Really good.
Yeah, it definitely checks the boxes.
That's really high, but I respect it up there.
Dude,
I
it
love
belongs
that.
there, I
I love that
promise.
you have it up there. That's fantastic.
Hey,
All right, number
wait.
ones. You ready?
Okay, yeah.
So my favorite Christmas movie of all time, maybe a little Jake Takeish, maybe a little surprise to you, Nick, but my favorite Christmas movie of all time is Home Alone 2. And so I kind of tried to be
It is a
kind of
surprise to me.
sneaky earlier and
Sneaky.
hold my tongue when we were talking about sequels and stuff. Yes, 3 and
Yeah.
4 are terrible. I don't think they're any good, but to me,
Two's
I
not bad. I'll give you
I
that.
know that a lot of people love 1. They love the original, but for me, again, the way that I rank this list is what movie makes me feel the most like Christmas. And I think this is because of this movie I've always wanted to go to New York during Christmas time.
Hmm.
And that's what the subline, it's Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, and
Mm-hmm.
uh just the plaza stuff and him going in the hotel, and then there's a really really cool scene that I always loved as a kid where he gets his own limo, and he gets his own pizza, and then as he's in the limo eating the pizza, he's watching the 1966 How the Grinch Stole Christmas on the little TV
Yeah.
in the limo, and I always loved that scene as a kid, and I was like, and then he goes to the toy store, and but for me, like I said, we watch these Home Alone movies to get to the ending, and to me, the way that he terrorizes the robbers in the second one is funnier to me than the first one. So when he goes to the abandoned house in New York and he
Mm-hmm.
does all the stuff, the throwing the bricks off the roof is one of the funniest movie scenes just in general for me. It is hilarious. I love that scene. And yeah, it's got so many iconic lines. I could go through the whole thing, but I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it at that. Home Alone 2 is my favorite Christmas movie. It's a tradition that me and my wife started. We watch her favorite Christmas movie and then my favorite Christmas movie. We watch them both on Christmas Eve together, and so
Nice.
that's
That's
one that
fun.
we wait till Christmas Eve to watch. But it's my favorite for sure. So Home Alone 2.
I mean, I can't hate on you for that because it's a good pick, but I don't know about number 1. I feel like a lot with Home Alone, they just kept trying to recreate the wheel, and once the
Sure.
wheel already got created, but I yeah,
But see,
going
in
to New
my
York.
opinion, like to me, like Home Alone 2 is like The Dark Knight. Like Batman Begins was really, really good, but to me, The Dark Knight took it to another level. And so
Well,
I
that's
think
because The Dark Knight's like one of the greatest movies of all
well,
time.
yeah, that's true. That's probably a bad comparison, but to me, Home Alone was really, really good, and then the second one just took what it did and did it better, in my opinion. And but that's me. I understand if people like the first one better, but to me, the second one is my
You know
favorite of
what
all
vibes
time.
it gives me? Richie
What?
Rich.
Well, yeah, I mean that definitely I could
A little
see
bit of
that.
Richie Rich vibes.
I could see
Nah,
that. But
I ain't hating on you. That's
Nick,
that's
I
that's a
think
good
that
pick.
your number one is probably a lot of people's number one.
So my number 1 is actually How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the 2000. Just kidding, it's Elf.
You're a liar. It is Elf.
It is Elf. Will Ferrell is the funny goat. It's funny that you
Funny goat.
the funny goat. It's funny that you mentioned him kind of leaving the raunchy scene. I didn't really think about that, but that totally makes sense. Like I feel like when this movie first came out, I wonder if there was even like hesitation, like, what's Will Ferrell doing in like a Christmas movie?
Oh,
Probably not gonna be great.
I bet
But
there was a
like,
lot of hesitation. Yeah.
yeah, but like, boy, were we wrong because this movie is the best and it's the greatest Christmas movie to me of all time.
Yeah.
It's just the Christmas movie goat. And the fact that, it did come out and I didn't realize that it was even 2006. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie's always been it for me when it comes to Christmas. When you talk about New York at Christmas time with Home Alone, that's what this movie does for me. Like when I think of New York at Christmas time, I'm thinking right to Elf. And
Yeah.
it brings kind of the 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 joy and the fun Christmas time to like the busy, chaotic world that Christmas does bring. And so it has this awesome sarcastic feel, which I think you and I both like through watching
Yeah.
shows like The Office and things like that. It's just got this like sarcastic, but also like that just I think also what's cool about it is that the reason that like the way that they were able to go from like in the cartoon life and then transition into the real life, they wouldn't have been
Right.
able to do that with the movie back in the day. So that's kind of a cool thing.
And
So I don't know,
just
maybe that.
Yeah, no, I just want to jump in really, really quick, just for you movie peoples out there who've been screaming at your radio. It came out in 2003, not 2006. Sorry about that. I had to
Okay.
fact check ourselves, which is crazy. I did not realize that it was all the way back in 03. But anyway, yeah, keep going.
Yes. But yeah, no, it's just cool because it gives you that good Christmas feel. You even get to
For
see
sure.
the iconic, animation of him leaving that world, and then, you get the sarcastic New York, what New York looks like at Christmas time, and you got so quotable, so many hilarious scenes. One of my favorite scenes is the snowball fight when he's just
Yes.
insanely good at snowball fights and just destroys like the kids, just like.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, man, that movie's great.
Movie has a
Nothing beats it.
ton of heart. Has a lot of heart.
Ton of heart.
And there's the
You
way
even
that
get you even get the dad feel with
yeah,
well,
exactly.
like
And
it checks it all.
the way that Favreau filmed that final scene where they're all singing and that
Mm-hmm.
last final note that they hit gives Santa, just enough to get back in the sky. It's so
That
iconic,
the
so
sad
good.
dad sings finally.
Yeah, yeah. That I mean, it's number 2 for me. It was almost it's very close to being number 1. Elf is one of my wife's favorites, so those are the two that we watch on Christmas Eve, and it's literally like I could take those two movies and I wouldn't need any other Christmas movie because Elf is
Facts.
fantastic. That's a great pick.
Facts. Well, there
That's
you
it.
have it.
There you have it.
Top 10 Christmas movies. We've done it. It's the holiday season, everybody. And we
Yes.
wait, what?
I was about to start singing, but I stopped myself.
Hey, Jacob's a great singer, by the way, Anchor fam.
No,
If you didn't
Nick
know
is a
that,
great singer, but you don't want to
Cat.
hear either of us sing. That's not why you're here.
But what we do want to tell you is that we want y'all to have an amazing Christmas season, and we hope that you watch some of these movies. I know I will be. Jacob will
Yeah.
be, obviously, and we want to hear what your favorite Christmas
Yes.
movies are. So yeah, Jacob, if you want to talk more on where they can find us or anything else you got.
Yeah, Ranker fam, you know what it is. We're really active on Instagram, so that's the main place that we want you guys to be following us there. But if you're not on Instagram, we do have Twitter where you'll see our episodes drop there. And if you don't want to do either of those and you still want to reach us, you can email us at therankerspodcast@gmail.com. And so if you want to send us your whole entire top 10, that would be awesome.
Do
We'd love
it.
to see it, or just any other thoughts you have about the show or about us or about life. We'd love to chat with you. And then, of course, guys, we ask this every episode. We please ask that if you haven't already, that you would rate and review us on
Please.
Spotify and Apple Podcasts and any other platform that you're listening
Heck
on.
yeah.
It's really helps us to grow the show, to get other people
Absolutely.
listening. And we're really excited about that. And speaking of which, in our next episode, we are going to do kind of a little bit of a different type of list, but me and Nick were
It's gonna be an
talking.
interesting one.
We thought this would be kind of fun. We mentioned so often on this podcast hot takes. And so we thought about let's just do an episode on hot takes. So we are calling this me and Nick's top 5 hot takes, like current hot takes, and we'll call it volume 1 because we'll do more of these. But me and Nick are each going to come up with our top 5. Just what do we have the most opinions about right now in our lives, and we're going to talk about them. We're going to see how mad we can make you guys.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for this. because I think, we tend to have themes for every episode that we do, but this one will have a little bit of, we might go from talking about sports to talking about movies,
Yeah.
which will be fun, and it'll be a cool thing to do. Something that we're gonna be trying and seeing how it goes. Like you said, volume 1, we'll see if we get to volume 2. I
Yeah,
think we
yeah.
will. I think it'll be fun.
We're just trying stuff out, guys. Just bear with
Heck
us.
yeah.
We're having
But
fun.
I did want to say, you shared with me a recent stat that we got recently, and it was that we've reached over 2,000 total listens. So that's
Yeah.
really cool. We are
Yeah.
so thankful for that. That
Thank
blew
you,
me
guys.
away.
That
we
is
do
what
this.
I wanted for Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, heck yeah. We do this week in and week out, and I'm always kind of wondering how we're doing, and that really was like that gave me a good bump into
Yeah.
how much you guys love us and how much we love you, and that this is fun and it's engaging. So please engage with us more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so cool stats, and we're excited to keep doing the Rankers podcast, and we'll do some fun stuff before the year's out.
Yeah, for
But yeah.
sure. So we will see you guys next time, Ranker fan. Merry Christmas. Hope you guys have an awesome holiday season
Merry
with
Christmas.
your families, and we will see you next time.